MacArthur met with a group of 4 constituents yesterday in his office at 5:30 p.m. I was invited to that meeting. I declined to go. He said he doesn't come to the in-person town halls because he doesn't want to show, and he doesn't want to interact with people who are seeking their minute of YouTube fame.
Nice.
Now he thinks this is my motivation for planning this is so insulting, I don't even know what to say. My name is Eileen Hill. I'm a 62-year-old retired physician with absolutely no prior political experience. 6 weeks ago, I had no idea that Tom MacArthur was my congressman. I had no idea that I was in District 3. I'm not kidding you. I had no idea. Never heard of him. I had heard from Mendes and Booker because they're periodically in the news. I had no idea who my congressman is. So when I say I had no political experience, I mean no political experience. South Jersey Now, Alice Paul chapter, and New Jersey Citizen Action are co-sponsoring this event. I'm from South Jersey Now in Municipal. I want to give a shout out to Karen Baroness, who found the venue, which is actually pretty hard, I gotta tell you. This venue holds 475 people, and it's pretty packed. I also want to give a shout out to Barb Lonsky for using her media contacts to get the momentum going. Now, mind you, I have no political experience. So basically, we just looked around for a venue, Karen found one, then I got in touch with Barb, she had some media contacts, and then thank God we found Colin Drew of New Jersey Citizen Action, who actually knows how to run these things, who stepped in to help me organize the event and is co-moderating with me. The tone of the town hall is meant to be respectful. We can be passionate, powerful, assertive, very clear about our views, relentless, and still be respectful. Cheering and clapping is highly encouraged. You can say something you like. However, do not boo or chant. That just gives him an excuse to not come to the next town hall and doesn't help us at all. The entire town hall is being videotaped. All of you have been given a postcard. Please write your name and address on one side and your questions and comments that you have for the congressman on the other side. Pass your postcards to aisle ushers if you see one. If not, make sure it gets to the box on the front stage. ABC News is here, and there's other press here as well. I actually don't know who else is here, but there will be reporters walking around and possibly asking me for interviews. We will be writing questions from the audience. Well, we're supposed to be writing questions, but we don't have that, so never mind. Okay. So Congressman MacArthur will get a hand-delivered copy of this video of all the postcards with your questions and comments. We have given you 2 pieces of paper, one red and one green. When we ask a question or make a statement that we want you to respond to, hold up the green, obviously, and say yes or agree. But I really like you to say the same thing, so hold up the green and say yes. And then red is no. Okay? Yeah. This is being recorded, so it's all going to be seen. But I don't just want the visual, I want the auditory. So when we ask a question and we ask you to hold up your sign, I want you to say yes and hold up the green sign, or say no and hold up the red sign. You will be heard. Everyone in here will be heard. You have a handout for God Bless America. If we have anyone who's disruptive, we're going to start singing God Bless America. I don't think that will happen, but it's good to be prepared. To open the town hall, we'll have 5 3-minute presentations of some of the major issues we are concerned about. So we're talking, like less than 20 minutes, guys. We know there are many others, so feel free to put all of your questions and comments on the postcards. Following the presentations, we will start having people line up at that microphone on the first floor in the middle. Maura from New Jersey Citizen Action will be up here with a panel of experts, and you will ask your question. We will propose the answer that we think you most would like Congressman MacArthur to say. And then you'll be asked to hold up your signs and speak out loud and say yes or no. Remember, MacArthur is going to see and hear all of this. I promise you he is going to want to watch this video. To end the program, I'm going to follow the example of the National Indivisible phone calls with a song. Don't leave before the song. It's going to be God Bless America. It's important. There's a reason for it. So, after the election, probably like most of you, I was distraught and incredulous. I also felt helpless and afraid for my children and my country. I heard about Indivisible on the Rachel Maddow show, and the rest is history. Quite frankly, I never even watched a news radio show until the election when my husband got me to watch MSNBC. That's how out of the loop I was. Indivisible mimics the strategy of the Tea Party, which involves voicing your concerns to your own senators and congressmen. But I think most people would agree, we don't want to bring the same kind of people they brought into Congress. Extreme, intolerant, ideologically rigid, and uncompromising. I started an Indivisible group with the South Jersey Now Alice Paul chapter. Alice Paul is a very famous suffragette who has been into about protesting. Raise your hand if you know who she is. Great, great. She's here tonight. I'm sure. I'm absolutely sure. And she's damn proud, too. The Alice Paul chapter was founded in 1971, so it's been around a while. Includes men and women, and Indivisible is a small part of what they do. The South Jersey Indivisible group, of which I am the leader, is following the very focused individual strategy of focusing our attention on our two senators, Menendez and Booker, and our district congressmen, predominantly districts 3 and 1. We have a member email list and have daily, very specific calls to action that involve making phone calls about very timely, focused, and relevant issues. There are pink sheets, one of the 25 sheets you were given. There are pink sheets available on your seats if you want to be added to our email list. Please put a pink sheet in the box, in the lobby, on your way out. If you don't, you will not be added to our email list. There are many other organizations in the area doing political advocacy. Some of the other groups in the area are obviously our co-sponsor, New Jersey Citizen Action. There's an Indivisible District 3 Facebook group. There's MoveOn.org, South Jersey Women for Progressive Change, Action Together New Jersey Burlington County, Our Revolution, and Huddles. There are many more. They're all different. If you're looking to join a group, find the one that's the best fit for you. February 20th to the 24th is the Congressional break, when congressmen are expected to meet with their constituents in person. Hundreds of people called MacArthur's office requesting an in-person town hall and were rebuffed. On his telephone town hall, February 13th, how many of you listened to that? His telephone town hall. Good, I'm glad it wasn't a lie, you didn't miss anything. This town hall had thousands of people on it. Thousands of people. And he said, one person did ask, Tara, she's here, she asked, why won't you hold an in-person town hall? And he said, because people were being bussed in who were not in district and were paid professional agitators. So don't I look like a paid professional agitator? No booing, no booing, no booing. Booing and chanting is an excuse not to come to the next town hall meeting, remember that. Cheering and clapping is encouraged, booing and chanting is not. Because then you can just look at the videotape and say, why would I come to that? You're just going to boo and chant. Why would I subject myself to that? So please don't boo or chant. But I'm giving you your first chance to use your signs. Alright? Maura and I will make a statement, and then we'll ask a question. We'll pause and say what's your answer. And you'll hold up your signs and say loudly, yes, green, or no, red. We're going for visual and auditory here. So, first question. I am in District 3. Your answer? Yes! Okay, you guys are good. We didn't even need a practice session. Getting them all together was amazing. really well. It is, can you hear me in the back? It is Congressman Tom. You got that right away, everybody. It is, now we just have to convince Congress that we're as smart. They don't seem to know that. It is Congressman Tom MacArthur's job to listen to his constituents face to face and vote the way we want him to vote. He works for us. All right, next question. Signs ready. Green sign or red? Yes or no? Our goal is to have 3 functioning branches of government that act as checks and balances on each other. Most people feel that Congress is completely dysfunctional. Your answer? Yes! I'm getting a thrill out of this. It's a lot of fun. When did compromise become a sign of weakness or failure? Is it always all about winning or losing and not about what's best for the country? And the American people will lose every time. Last cheering is absolutely okay. Was it in the country's best interest to shut the government down? Seriously? That's where extremism gets you. I propose we reject that as our goal. All right, now I'm going to give you a disclaimer. The following comments are purely my opinion, though my guess is I am not the only one here who thinks this. The dysfunction in Congress is complicated. You have to start at the top. What do we do in organizations when there's so much dysfunction? We bring in professionals, right? I mean, some of you have sure have worked in places where they have brought in these people to help people work together, right? So, I think the first thing we need to do is have a conflict negotiation team come in to work with Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan, Chuck Schumer, and Nancy Pelosi. I'm not kidding. I thought there would be other people who agree with this. Then we need an organizational management team to come in and evaluate the whole system. To look, for example, at redistricting, the relevancy of the Electoral College, the role of the states, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't have all the answers. I'm not a politician, and I'm not an organizational management person. I'm a doctor. But there's people with expertise to evaluate dysfunctional systems and find out what's working and what's not. I do not think the problems in Congress will be solved simply by getting Republicans to change their votes. Fortunately, because Trump is such an extreme figure and felt by many to be unqualified to be president, this may finally be the tipping point to change the dynamic in Congress. I'm loving energy, guys, I gotta tell you. So there's lots of people probably sitting in the audience thinking that would never work, it's impossible. I believe anything is possible. Who in the audience is over the age of 60? Can you just raise your hand? Okay, so I'm 62. We're close enough to World War II, or had a parent who was involved in World War II, to really remember this. My father served for 3.5 years. If you think that this isn't possible, after World War II, did anyone ever think that the U.S. and Japan would be great friends after Hiroshima and Nagasaki? After World War II, did anyone ever think that Germany would become a model for tolerance and have the most admired and respected prime minister in all of Europe, maybe the world? Who would have thought that would happen? No one. This happened because after World War II, the Allies rebuilt Western Europe through the Marshall Plan, investing $120 billion in today's money. They recognized that this was the way to move the world forward and restore stability and peace. This remarkable thing happened because people were thinking of how to benefit everyone, and it worked. I never want to miss an opportunity to acknowledge and appreciate our veterans. Would all the veterans in the audience please stand up and get a round of applause? So at this time, I'm going to turn the program over to Maura Collinsworth of New Jersey Citizen Action, who's the Healthcare Program Director. Reminder, when we're done with our 3-minute presentations, about 20 minutes I'm going to say, you're going to start forming a line at the open mic right there. Then what's going to happen is that Maura, or one of the experts on the stage, will pose an answer to your question that we would like Congressman MacArthur to give us. They will then ask you, do you agree or disagree, and you will hold up your signs.
Here. All of the groups here supporting you, New Jersey Citizen Action, we're here to support you, the constituents. I confess, I am a paid protester. But I also am here as a resident of New Jersey, as a family member of many people who live within this congressional district. And the actions that are being taken in Washington will affect every single person in this country, regardless of what congressional district you live in. It is not a line. We are all in this together. There are issues of civil rights, health care, the environment, immigration, work, family, government accountability, and transparency. And because Tom MacArthur chose not to be here today, we have asked some constituents and some people who know some of these issues to help frame the discussion. Their comments will be short. I would like to say, in the end, the questions we're here to pose today, we will offer solutions to. Many of you know what it is you want and need to make your lives better and to improve this country. Before introducing the panel and the speakers, which we will bring up one at a time, I just reiterate what Eileen said and ask all of you to be mindful of why we are here. Please be respectful of one another so we can record your questions. Sadly, Congressman MacArthur tonight put us on mute by not attending this in-person town hall and deliberately scheduling a teletown hall at the same time. We are here to tell him that these concerns are real, and we, the people of New Jersey and the people of his district, want to be heard, and we will be heard. So we're going to start right in with one of my most favorite topics, working in healthcare day in and day out. We know how critically important healthcare is, and the potential repeal and dismantling of our healthcare system currently being proposed. I'd like to introduce to you Lisa Miller, who is a District 3 constituent and a member of South Jersey, now indivisible. She is here as a resident of Morristown and has a powerful and personal story that she is here to share with you tonight. Lisa?
Hello, New Jersey District 3 voters, remember that. Thank you for being here. I am not a paid They won't make a difference if you haven't put down your name and address and clearly stated that you are a District 3 voter. Tom MacArthur doesn't care what anybody who's outside his district says. So keep in mind, you must make sure he's hearing from his constituents. I marched in Washington on January 21st. And I'm here now. I'm here now to make it clear to Tom MacArthur and all the members of Congress, that's why I was in Washington, that they must not vote to repeal the Affordable Care Act. They must not vote to defund Planned Parenthood. 20 million previously uninsured Americans now have health care coverage because of the Affordable Care Act. Almost 800,000 of these people are New Jersey residents. In the 3rd district, your district, Tom MacArthur, the number of previously uninsured dropped by 30%. 19,000 people in the 3rd district were enrolled through the Affordable Care Act marketplace. Children and adults in our country, in our community, who will be healthier because they have access to preventative care. And if they get sick or injured, they won't face financial disaster, suffer untreated, or die because they have health insurance now. Under the Affordable Care Act, 133 million Americans with chronic illnesses cannot be denied coverage because of their pre-existing conditions. And that's one of my inspirations for being here and getting involved. My daughter is the first person I knew who called her representatives in Congress to protest the repeal of the ACA. She called MacArthur's office before we went to Washington, before the first vote, the budget vote. She's a recent graduate of Rutgers, and she was her dean's first choice to be student speaker at alumni and fundraising events. So she knows how to make a pitch. But even she got off script, as I may, and teared up on the phone when speaking with MacArthur's office about the ACA, because she has pre-existing conditions. I never knew that even back in high school, she worried about what was going to happen if she was no longer eligible for coverage under our insurance, and she couldn't afford or even obtain health insurance because of her pre-existing conditions. Congressman MacArthur, if you repeal the ACA, what happens to her and all the millions of others, young and old, with pre-existing medical conditions? They require monitoring, treatment, and medication. What if insurance companies refuse to cover them? The ACA doesn't just protect young people trying to get a start in life. And my daughter and I are fortunate. We have employer insurance. But it also provides limits on the premiums charged to the elderly and prevents discrimination on the basis of race, color, national origin, sex, or age. Expansion of Medicaid in New Jersey under the ACA has provided health insurance for 547,000 men, women, and children who are existing below, at, or just above the poverty line. Representative MacArthur, what will you say to your constituents if they lose their coverage because you voted to repeal the ACA? You did the right thing by voting no on the ACA budget resolution back in January. And I respect the fact that you were standing up to your party's leaders with that vote. But since then, you haven't voted for your constituents and their health care. And I want you to tell me, will you vote no in any resolutions to chip away or repeal the protections of the Affordable Care Act. Last week, there was a vote that effectively was going to defund Planned Parenthood, which is another huge, huge passion of mine. And in talking to people about the defunding of Planned Parenthood, I found that an awful lot of people don't know what Planned Parenthood does. And the most important thing that everybody needs to know is that since the 70s, no federal funds that go to Planned Parenthood are used for abortions. They do not fund abortions. What they fund Planned Parenthood provides cancer screening, birth control, STD testing and treatment, well-woman visits. That's 97% of what they do. That's what the federal funds go to. 97% of what they do is providing well care, birth control, cancer screening, STD treatment. It just boggles my mind that nobody seems to know that. Defunding Planned Parenthood is not, Planned Parenthood prevents abortions. They provide birth control. They provide Planned Parenthood's website says there are 100,000 unintended pregnancies that they have helped prevent. So, don't don't repeal the ACA. There are too many people's lives and health at stake. Thank you. I went a little off script.
Congressman MacArthur, your District 3 people have an answer to this question. Do you want Tom MacArthur and the Republicans to repeal the ACA?
Keep them up, keep them up, keep them up!
I think it's near unanimous. It's near unanimous. Thank you so much, Lisa. Lisa is just one story of literally millions around this country. And I can't thank you enough for speaking up. Thank you. Renee Kubiatis, who is the Executive Director of the Anti-Poverty Network. She is not a paid protester. She is a District 3 constituent, a social worker, and a real advocate for those who really need help and a hand up. So Renee is going to speak with you about some real living wage issues and housing and how we can help poverty in New Jersey.
Thank you, Mara. Thank you, everybody. I do live in Florence Township in this district. I wanted to talk today about the policies that hurt working people in our district. The updated New Jersey ALICE report, and ALICE stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, and Employed, indicates that at least 37% of New Jersey residents are very low income or what is considered working poor, despite working full-time year-round. Working poor are two words that should never be heard together in the richest country or one of the richest states in the nation. It goes without saying, but if you are working, you should be able to afford the basic necessities for yourself and your family. However, the high cost of living in New Jersey and Burlington County, coupled with low wages and an insufficient safety net, prevent many individuals and families from rising above the poverty line. Inequality in New Jersey has grown unabated for decades, further hurting already vulnerable people and spreading suffering to more and more people across our state. New Jersey's current minimum wage of $8.44 an hour is insufficient. In order to relieve the pain and damage the low minimum wage is causing people and the economy, wages must be raised to $15 an hour. This ensures that full-time workers can afford their daily basic needs and provide a much-needed economic boost to businesses. This is because research shows that when low-income and working-class people have extra money, they spend it immediately and in the community. Increasing the minimum wage would also reduce the number of taxpayer dollars that subsidize our social programs and help increase the efficiency of those programs, as fewer residents will rely on them to survive. As I mentioned, the combination of low wages and a lack of affordable homes in our state is crippling many people. The National Low-Income Housing Coalition estimates the hourly wage needed to afford the average two-bedroom apartment and all other basic necessities in New Jersey is almost $25 an hour. According to the Department of Labor, 9 of the 10 occupations that employ the most people in our state pay well below the $25 an hour wage, and most pay closer to the current inadequate minimum wage. One of the main reasons we are lacking enough affordable homes is that New Jersey has failed to fully comply with the Mount Laurel court rulings of the 1980s. Those rulings happened right here in District 3. But we have not fulfilled the Mount Laurel doctrine by creating enough affordable homes for all people who need them. Therefore, most people are forced to spend more than 30% of their income, and many spend more than 50% of their income on housing. In fact, we lead the nation with 46% of millennials still living at home here in New Jersey because they cannot afford to move out on their own. This is unsustainable. Individuals and families bounce in and out of homelessness and are forced to double and triple up in others' homes. I urge Congressman MacArthur to vote no on spending caps and deficit reductions that would create reduced funding for housing programs. District 3 residents need the Federal Housing Trust Fund and other programs to create or rehabilitate more homes that people in our state can truly afford. Another way Congressman MacArthur could help the working poor is by voting for the expansion of the earned income tax credit for adults who are not currently raising children. The amount of the tax credit for adults without children is currently too low to help lift them out of poverty at the same rates as families receiving credit, and does not reach people below the age of 25. The 3 current federal proposals would help anywhere from 343,000 to over 500,000 of New Jersey's workers to meet their basic necessities. District 3 workers are urging Congressman MacArthur to help us. Thank you.
Does the constituents in this room want Congressman Tom MacArthur to expand the earned income tax credit for New Jersey's workers? All right, Renee, you have a whole room full of people to help. On the other end of the spectrum, I do want to say, as we're doing this, framing up some of these issues, keep in mind, these are all interrelated. What Renee talked about and healthcare, they all matter. Those people who are not making a living wage are now on New Jersey Medicaid. 75% of the people in the Medicaid expansion are full-time working adults. This is not a handout. We are not giving people enough to sustain themselves on, and we need to do better. Tom MacArthur and the Republicans and all of our congressional representatives need to do better. On the other end of the spectrum, securing the economy, avoiding the events that took place that crashed our economy several years ago in 2008. I'd like to ask Carol Sands, also a District 3 constituent and a member of South Jersey Now and Indivisible, to come up, who's going to speak with you about some of those issues that have an impact on all of us.
in 2008. The great banks collapsed one after another like dominoes, leaving our country in a financial crisis with over 10% unemployment, a stock market that lost half its value, and the loss of homes and jobs for citizens all over the country. Having been deregulated under the Bush administration, the banks, competing to show their shareholders they had obtained more loans and mortgages than other banks, even to the point of giving out bad loans that consumers could not repay, left the banks too big to fail. After the banks collapsed from risky loans and inadvisable investments, the Dodd-Frank Act was put into effect to prevent the economy from ever collapsing again. The law puts into effect regulations to keep banks in safe rather than risky investments. It also requires them to give sound mortgages rather than the bad mouth mortgages that consumers could not repay and which harmed our economy so seriously that we are still recovering from the effects. However, now Donald Trump has announced that he is going to destroy the Dodd-Frank Act, which has protected us for the past 7 years. He stated, we're going to be doing a big number on Dodd-Frank. He's placed in the position of Secretary of the Treasury, Steve Mnuchin, a man whose company notoriously foreclosed on widows and people whose payments were short of as little as 24 cents in one payment by using robots to foreclose on people rather than having personal reviews. With the policies that the Treasury Secretary wants to put in place, we could be facing financial collapse again. In addition, Trump wants to destroy the Consumer Financial Protection Agency, which helps to protect American students from victimization by unfair loan practices, prevents Americans from unfair mortgage lending, and helps them avoid being cheated by credit card companies. This law is estimated to be saving consumers $12.6 billion a year in fees and interest from unfair credit card practices alone. Destroying these reforms is a violation of Trump's basic promise to the country to help the middle class and the working class. He does not want us to have an ally against cheating companies that ruin the lives of widows and destroy young students whose educational debts harm their future. In addition, Trump wants to abolish the fiduciary rule created during the Obama administration, which requires investment counselors to invest our money in the best interests of us, the clients, rather than risky investments which could harm us financially. In other words, he's giving companies weapons to aim at the hearts of the American consumer public and taking away our shields of protection. In a recent one-hour teletown hall, when Congressman MacArthur was asked about bank regulation by a voter, he said bank deregulation was not the cause of the Great Recession. It was only the housing bubble, which Republicans say caused the banks to give bad loans. This contradicts common sense. Just because housing prices are too high doesn't mean banks should give mortgages to people who can't pay to the point where the bank finally collapses. We need to have Congressman MacArthur come to a real town meeting. We can get him to answer follow-up questions and not divert his constituents from addressing the real threats to their welfare and financial health. We must demand that he support Dodd-Frank and the Consumer Financial Protection Agency's powers and support the continuation of the fiduciary rule. We need him to act in our interest to ensure the financial health and welfare of our country. Thank you. Are you in favor of Congressman MacArthur supporting the Dodd-Frank Act to protect
Thank you, Carol. Another issue critically important, especially in the state of New Jersey, with all that has happened with Hurricane Sandy, with the Pinelands, with the shore, with the rivers. There is so much happening on the environmental front. And we have an administration currently who is dismantling the EPA and trying to make them less than powerful. So tonight we took the liberty of asking Dave Pringle, who's the New Jersey Campaign Director for Clean Water Action, to come and frame up this issue for us in a very short 3-minute kind of presentation. There's so much more, but I'd like to ask you to welcome Dave Pringle.
Thank you. Is this what democracy looks like? Wow, this is awesome. I confess, I am also a paid professional agitator. I'm very underpaid, I'm very overworked, and I'm loving it. I want to thank Maura and Eileen and everybody organizing this. This really is incredible. I spend most of my time in Trenton, and that's an awfully depressing place. It's things like this that keep me going, and I've been doing this my entire professional life, so thank you all for being here. There's so much to talk about, I don't even know where to begin. Raise your mic up. Thank you. There's so much, normally I'm lowering. There's so much to talk about, I don't know really where to begin. It's really quite simple. Trump and the House Republicans are doing exactly what they said they were going to do. We shouldn't be surprised. It's our job to hold them accountable, and tonight's a great step in that direction. And this district really is special environmentally. It might be the most environmentally diverse, significant district, certainly in New Jersey and probably around. In addition to suburbs and all kinds of different growth patterns, environmentally, you've got the Delaware River, the Pinelands, the Jersey Shore, Barnegat Bay, and while this isn't a positive, it has the oldest operating commercial nuclear plant in the country. Unfortunately, the exact same model as Fukushima. But fortunately, it's shutting down in 2 years, and we're going to keep the jobs around for 14 years because there's a lot of cleanup that has to happen. But all of the things that EPA does and we do nationally on the environment are really under assault. The environment hasn't faced this in the modern environmental era. In the 60s and 70s, all the protections started to be put in place, and this isn't hyperbole. Trump means it. Two of his top priorities is to get rid of the core of the Clean Water Act and to get rid of the Clean Power Plan. And this district, especially the Ocean County side of it, significant parts of it will be underwater in 50 years if Trump does if we let Trump do what he says he's going to do. And it's not just Trump, it's the House Republican leadership, and I want to say it's the rank and file Republicans enabling it, except in this instance, Mr. MacArthur isn't enabling it, he's encouraging it, he's part of it. He's not just letting it happen, he's advocating for it. And I'm not exaggerating there. This is his first term in Congress, his first 2 years, 2015, 2016, on the 15 most important votes we tracked, he did the right thing 1 out of 15 times, that's 7%. In 2017, in less than a month, there's been 6 critical environmental votes, and he's 0 for 6. That's right, no. And this really is an existential threat. They talk about eliminating EPA, not just cutting it, eliminating it. Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, Safe Drinking Water Act, Endangered Species Act, facing the reality of the climate crisis. That's all on the chopping block. Betsy DeVos got a lot of attention about how she never stepped foot into a public school and doesn't know anything about public schools. Well, every single environmental appointment is the same as she is on those issues. Scott Pruitt, the head of EPA, is suing EPA 14 times. In his confirmation hearing, he said there was no conflict between him continuing the litigation and being the administrator. He's going to be sitting on both sides, the defense table and the prosecutor. And the Senate refused to hold off the vote last Friday, even though they knew at the time, because of a court order yesterday, documents were going to be released, emails from Mr. Pruitt demonstrating he's a wholly owned subsidiary. So, stay engaged. if you're interested more in the environmental stuff, cleanwateraction.org. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, I'm on my email, cell phone, you name it. One good website if you want a little more quick documentation, it's easy to remember on Mr. MacArthur's environmental record is at our website. We have a scorecard. If you just go to cleanwateraction.org/Congress, you can find it there. But we need him to clean up his act. I am a underpaid, overworked, professional paid agitator because I don't want kids to lose IQ points from lead in drinking water. I don't want people getting cancer because of a hazardous waste site next to their house. I want fewer children frequenting emergency rooms because they're having an asthma attack because of air pollution. And this is personal to me because I still remember the night I spent in a hospital with my daughter, who was 2 at the time, because she was having an asthma attack and couldn't get enough oxygen in her blood. So that's my confessions, not only as a paid community professional organizer, or agitator, but I'm also, like President Obama, a community organizer. Thank you, and so are you.
Thank you so much, Dave. At the end of the night, just to let you all know, there are many action steps that you can and we hope will take following this citizen town hall. This is not the end. This is just one step in the process, and we will have some information for you as we close tonight, some of the environmental action steps you can take. I'm going to ask, concern is quickly growing around this new administration's immigration policies and enforcement tactics. And I have to tell you, as someone who is really on the fringe of this issue, I have family members impacted. I have people in my family and in my neighborhood and friends I work with and people I know who literally are fearful when they wake up in the morning. That should not be happening. That is not good policy. Immigrants are an integral part of our communities, our workplaces, and of our history. A policy expert on this. But what I do know is that how we allow them to be treated is a reflection on us all. So tonight we have invited here Craig Garcia from Working Families, who is on the front line helping communities and constituents and the undocumented, legal and undocumented people to do what they need to do to stand up for their human rights. So please welcome Craig Garcia.
It's great to be here with you tonight. I just want to point out that, on Monday, I felt nothing but just a little sense of irony hearing the President of the United States talk about how he's going to stand against anti-Semitism on the same day that we saw the DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, lay out its program for mass deportations. extensively in the immigrant community and have many dear friends who have, for one reason or another, found themselves without legal status in this country. It's shameful to see law-abiding Americans like them dragged through the mud, go to sleep every night in fear that deportation services might come busting down the door at 5 o'clock in the morning and taking them away. It's unacceptable, it's un-American. And we need to stand up. We have a constitution in this country, and we hold it, as one of our greatest achievements as a nation. And what people don't realize is that so many, again, hardworking Americans that have found themselves to be undocumented but working in this country, they're not protected by the Constitution as it stands. You have ICE coming into people's houses, coming into businesses, rounding people up, not with judicial warrants, but just a piece of paper and saying, we're going to take them away. And with this new executive order we're hearing about, they'll be able to round up anyone. That includes people who've been here for 20 years, have strong roots in their community, have done their fair share contributing to our society. It's just unacceptable to see that. So, we need to stand up to that. One way we can do that at Working Families, our allies at the ACLU, Immigrant Justice Alliance, has been to start moving sanctuary cities across the state. And I've been heartened to see, probably, I've lost count honestly, but about a dozen cities across the state in just the last couple of weeks, in defiance of the crap that we hear out of the White House. Welcoming cities, ensuring that they're not going to participate in the mass deportations. And I think that's what we need to strive towards. We need to strive towards building sanctuary cities, sanctuary counties, and eventually a sanctuary state here in New Jersey. I also want to challenge us to expand on what we mean by a sanctuary state. Sure, we need to protect our immigrant brothers and sisters. We need to protect our Muslim brothers and sisters, people of color. But we also need to protect our democracy too. We need to give the federal government a hell of a fight in 2018, but I want to let folks know that 2017 comes before that. We got a gubernatorial race coming up, and every single one of the legislators just for re-election. So I know a lot of us have been out on the streets the past couple of weeks, past couple of months. It seems like a year already. There's a lot of work to be done. And when the rallies go and the marches go, we need to start knocking on doors. We need to organize. Just about a year and a half ago, we were fighting for the Democracy Act here in New Jersey to expand voting rights, which would have expanded same-day voter registration, automatic voter registration, voter when you go to register for pretty much anything at the motor vehicle department, you would get signed up to vote. Expanding voting seems like a great idea. That died in the Democratic caucus in the New Jersey legislature, and that should have never happened. And if we really want to take back our state for democracy, we need to expand our democracy. I want folks to take a step back from all the crazy tweets you see and start knocking on your friends' doors, talking to folks in your community, developing a Facebook page, joining one of the great groups that are out there, get engaged, and let's start building. We need to organize. If you're considering running for office, there's county committee seats at the micro level. There's city council seats we need people to run, and we need to take out politicians that aren't doing the right thing. So stand up, fight back. And I'll give a quick shout out. If you want to learn more about working families working, join our rapid response team. You can sign up through text. You can text the word resist to 31996. We used that really well at the airport the other day when we fought back against the Muslim ban. We have nothing else to do but take to the streets, so that's going to be as important as ever. So protest, 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 and that's 31996, and you text resist 31996. Thank you, appreciate it.
Will you stand up? Do we want Congressman MacArthur to stand up and stop these actions? Thank you, Craig. Tell the people that you're working with every day that there are more people saying, yes, stop this, than there are people who want to push it forward. And our voices will get heard. So to kind of round this out before we go to questions, there's a couple people who, Eileen being one of them, is going to come up and talk about structurally, what's the problem here? How did we get here? How did we get here? And I'm going to ask Eileen Hill to come up, and she will introduce Robert and Janice, who have some brief comments, and then we're going to questions from you. We really want to hear from you. We want to know what are the burning issues that caused you to come here tonight, knowing that there's not a representative here. What is it that you want to say? So we want to quickly get to that. I'm going to ask Eileen Hill to come back up.
Okay, so the first political event I ever participated in my entire life was to go to the Women's March on Washington with 500,000 of my closest friends. In August, I'm going to talk about Russia. I insisted that I be the one to talk about Russia. I am not an international policy expert, but I really don't think you need to be one to follow this story, folks. In August, Trump's then campaign, if for any reason you cannot hear me in the back, raise your hands. In August, Trump's then campaign manager, Paul Manafort, resigned after reports of his shadowy dealings with moneyed interests in Russia and Ukraine. Manafort basically ran the campaign of the Ukrainian dictator who fled the country in 2014. Just the kind of person we feel comfortable having as a campaign manager of a U.S. presidential candidate, don't you think? No. 17 intelligence agencies concluded Russia interfered with the U.S. election. Just 6 days into his presidency, on January 26th, Donald Trump was informed by the Assistant Attorney General, Sally Yates, who's now famous, famous for doing the right thing, that his National Security Advisor, Flynn, had misled Pence about contacts with the Russian ambassador, and that Flynn was at risk for blackmail by Russia. Trump kept Pence in the dark and waited nearly 3 weeks before ousting Flynn, and then only after the story was leaked to the press, forcing Trump's hand. You can't make this stuff up, you really can't. Trump says the problem was not that Flynn talked to the Russian ambassador about sanctions before the inauguration. Oh, no. But the fact that he denied it for weeks to Pence, that's the real issue, right, folks? Trump allowed Flynn access to classified information up until the day he was fired. lied to the FBI last month when asked if he had discussed sanctions with Russia. Lying to the FBI is a felony. Any decision to prosecute would be up to the Justice Department. Guess who's leading that? Attorney General Jeff Sessions. The New York Times reported that Trump campaign aides and associates had repeated contact with Russian intelligence officers in the year before the election. Most recently, it was discovered that Trump's personal attorney met with a pro-Putin lawmaker from Ukraine in a New York hotel to concoct a scheme to drop the sanctions on Russia. Trump's personal lawyer has told the New York Times he hand-delivered a sealed envelope to Flynn's office. You cannot make this stuff up, seriously. 2 top members of the Senate Intelligence Committee, as well as 5 other Republican senators, are calling for a bipartisan probe that must include any contacts between Trump campaign officials and Russia. So far, Mitch McConnell has not enthusiastically said yes. Republicans in the House applauded Flynn's resignation, but left it at that. After all, why look further? There's nothing else to find, is there? When asked about this yesterday, MacArthur responded to 4 constituents, he was there, no member of Congress would stand for another country interfering with our democratic process. Really? So why did Congress vote against forcing Trump to release his tax returns, which Congress has the power to do? Done nothing. We're going to have a lot of fun, guys, because I'm going to get to some questions, let me tell you. So we have some questions. These are from the Philadelphia Inquirer. First, I'm going to tell you the questions that they raised, and then we're going to have some we're going to have a good time. Okay, here's a really excellent questions. Did President Trump or any of his associates have any improper or possibly illegal contact with Russia during the election campaign or the transition? Wouldn't you like to know? Was Flynn acting alone? Does anyone think that? Did the Trump campaign collude with Russia against Clinton? Does Trump have any existing or pending business deals that could explain his deference to Russia and Putin? Makes sense to me, guys. Makes sense to me. Do any of Trump's many companies owe money to any Russian banks or oligarchs? What do you think? Does Russia have dirt on Trump that would compromise his presidency? So what we really need is for Trump to release his tax returns, right? When MacArthur was asked yesterday how he would stand up to Trump, you can't make this stuff up, I swear to God. When MacArthur was asked yesterday how he would stand up to Trump in the face of growing evidence of conflict of interest, the congressman said that he trusts Trump to do the right thing and wants to give him. He said Trump is cutting his business ties. However, the congressman informed us his eyes are wide open and he will be paying attention to what goes on. Really? Has he paid attention to what's already gone on? I feel like this remark insults my intelligence. I have a few really interesting facts for you that I'd like thank my husband for digging up for me. He contributed. Did you know that Lance Armstrong was stripped of all 7 of his historic Tour de France titles in 2012 for cheating 14 years after the fact? So it's never too late to do the right thing. The Russian field and track team, the entire team, was barred from the Rio Olympics because of cheating, an extraordinary punishment without precedent in Olympic history. So, something can be done even if it hasn't been done before. removing Russia as the host of the 2018 World Cup because of its role in the Ukraine crisis and the occupation of Crimea. The letter, may I remind you, is less than 2 years old. Paraphrasing, allowing Russia to host the World Cup in 2018 inappropriately bolsters the prestige of Putin at a time when he should be condemned and provides economic relief at a time when much of the international community is imposing economic sanctions. The lead signers were Senator Menendez, and Senator Ron Johnson, who so far isn't doing anything, a Republican, and Republican Senator John McCain, who I will say is So I guess interfering in the U.S. presidential election isn't as important as soccer. For the following 7 questions, I don't want you to use your signs. I want you to stand up. Everybody stand up. We're going to show our government that we are not the silent, oblivious fools they seem to think we are. I'm going to read 7 statements, and I want you to respond with a thunderous yes. Thunderous! I want you to blow the roof off this place. Let our voices represent all Americans. Let us be heard by every Republican congressman and senator who is not listening. These are very tough statements that I haven't heard put so bluntly. Maybe they needed spelled it out for them. I believe every one of these statements to be true. Get ready. Do you agree that Attorney General Jeff Sessions should immediately appoint an independent special prosecutor to investigate similar to the 9/11 Commission? Yes! Sessions has suggested he doesn't think a special prosecutor is necessary, despite the fact that he was part of the campaign. And so, do you agree he is acting against America's best interests? Do you agree that this investigation must include the Trump's campaign involvement throughout his campaign, during the transition, and since his inauguration? Do you agree that colluding with a hostile foreign government to win a U.S. presidential election is cheating and probably criminal? Do you agree that cheaters and their entire team must be disqualified from the race and all results voided? Do you agree Republicans are choosing party over country and jeopardizing our national security? Therefore, do you agree they are not demonstrating moral, ethical, or patriotic behavior? Lastly, do you agree that if the Republican Congress and Senate do not act immediately, they are betraying their own country? To end, I'm going to paraphrase a very famous quote. If you agree, I want you to clap and cheer.
And green cards.
Evil flourishes when good men do nothing.
Turn your questions in because all of them are going to be given to Tom MacArthur. I would also ask Dave and Renee and Craig and Eileen to come up. If there are any questions that we can help this administration and Congressman MacArthur answer, we will try to do that.
Hello, my name is Charles Marossi and I live in Leisure Town. affectionately known as Seizure Town. It's a community of 55 and over, and it has approximately 2,200 homes, which are at least that many votes. And my question is going to be shortly, but what I would just like to suggest is that we are running a lot of forums with the AARP. And the AARP does a tremendous presentation to seniors and also for future seniors who are 55, 56, 57, that are going to need hospitalization when they get older. Please, if anybody wants to know anything about how the Affordable Care Act interacts with your Medicare benefits, Medicaid, etc., please contact the AARP and have them give a demonstration in your community. And with that being said, I would like to ask Representative MacArthur this question. Are you in favor of replacing our Medicare and our Social Security with a voucher system?
Well, Congressman MacArthur, I don't hear his answer. So I'd like to ask you all, do you want your representative, Tom MacArthur, to turn Medicare into a voucher system? Will you send that message with a vote the next time there's an election? Congressman MacArthur, this is your opportunity to stand up. You have said that you care about the people and don't want to take their coverage. So please do the right thing and stand up for the people of this district. Thank you for all of this.
Paula Patry. I live in Forked River, obviously New Jersey. It's down near the shore. It's about 20 minutes from Long Beach Island, and it's to the west of Barnegat Bay. I've never spoken in public before, but I can't keep silent any longer. So I do have something and you'll excuse me for looking at my card every once in a while. Representative MacArthur, the first thing I wanted to say was, thank you for coming this evening. When I got here, I didn't realize that he wasn't going to be here. And a friend and I drove up from Forked River, Barnegat, New Jersey. It took us an hour, about an hour. There wasn't much traffic. And we thought it was going to take us a lot longer, so we got here like at, 4:15. Anyway, I'll move on. So, secondly, I am not a paid protester. I'm just a little old 69-year-old lady from Forked River. I paid for my own gas in that car that I drove here today. I've never been involved in anything political since the 60s. N-O-W. Thirdly, I'm not here to speak about the Trump administration because we all know it's running like a fine-tuned machine. I do, however, have a question for you, but I have to preface it with something that I learned in 3rd grade. In 3rd grade, I learned that water runs downhill. Streams in the higher elevations run down into rivers in lower elevations, which run down into bays and oceans. Now, Representative MacArthur, on your website, Beautiful, a lovely photo of you, and a gorgeous picture of the Atlantic Ocean. Now, you happen to live in Barnegat, New Jersey. At least that's where you got elected from. You couldn't stay in Randolph and leave us poor Ocean County people alone. No, you had to change your address to Barnegat Light so that you could run and get elected. Well, good luck in 2018. But I just want to say, when you look out your window from that beach house in Barnegat Light, New Jersey, you see to your west Barnegat Bay and to your east the Atlantic Ocean. Now, where in the heck do you think that the sludge from the coal mines are going to end up? Because you voted on February 1st to allow coal companies not to have to monitor the sludge they dump into the streams. Now, aside from the fact that the streams there are orange, and the people in that area, probably the coal miners that are getting lung disease from breathing the lung dust, or whatever that dust is called, and then having to drink the water where that all that bad stuff leaches down in. I need the EPA guy to come and help me here. But aside from hurting the people in that area, you are also hurting your own self and the people of Ocean County.
So I'm going to ask you if you would please ask the question. If you turn around, you'll see there's a very long line of people waiting to ask questions.
Anyway, thank you very much for listening to me, Representative.
Name, where you're from, and ask your question for Tom MacArthur.
My name is Melissa. I live in Medford, and I'm not a paid protester. But I am an American, and I have to say that this is the first time I've ever been a part of anything. Very unfortunate that I have to follow that woman. She was awesome. But I too am concerned about what I see as very blatant connections to a bad actor that I think put us all at risk, regardless of whether we're Muslim, Jewish, Christian, immigrant, native born. And I think to somebody's point earlier, it really doesn't matter. I mean, we're all here and we're human beings. And I think we need to have compassion for everyone. And I think what this argument, if you want to call it that, but what this movement needs to be about is making sure that we're protecting our democracy. And
Congressman MacArthur, what are you asking Congressman MacArthur?
I'm asking him to absolutely support some sort of independent inquiry, special prosecutor, neutral party to look into this. I think it's every American deserves that, and it is his responsibility as an elected official. He works for us. He's supposed to speak for us, and I think we all believe that is part of his job. And so you're going to do your job. This is part of that.
How many of you would like to see Tom MacArthur support that investigation? Thank you.
My name is Jim Ward, Marlton resident. I'm a retired major from the Marine Corps. I swore an oath to uphold certain principles that our country is based on. And I feel that those principles are being assaulted, and I'm fearful for our democracy. Congressman MacArthur, will you speak out and publicly and vigorously reject President Trump's attack on the free press?
this is important. Not only that, you refuse to stand up for any kind of gun safety technology because, quote, the technology isn't there yet. What do you have to say to that? I won't repeat it, but you can kind of say it quietly. There's another issue that really got me along this. We talk about gun control and reciprocity with other states. In a meeting with Shanine Allen, documented on your Facebook page, dated January the 31st, and I quote your statement, Representative MacArthur, you said, "It's clear that we need concealed carry reciprocity now." Thank you.
I'm going to ask, because we have such a long line of questions, that you keep your question to the one that you most want to ask.
Okay, my name's Chris. I'm in Edgewater Park, right on the Delaware River. Like a lot of people here, 6 weeks ago I had no idea who Tom MacArthur was. I find myself angry about half the day. I want 900 issues to get out so I can vent in public. I want to make a quick point. New Jersey is a Democratic state. That means the Democrats outnumber the Republicans. There's another group in our state that outnumbers both of us. It's the people that are undeclared and aren't involved, like me 6 weeks ago. That ends now. My question for Congressman MacArthur is the same question I have for this room. Who's the Democrat that's going to take away that seat in 2018?
Who is the person, and is that person in this room here tonight?
No, I don't think they are.
You need not be affiliated with one party or the other. Those of you who came out tonight, many of you for the first time, how many people here, is this your first time coming out to an event like this?
I just want to point out, folks, that Congressional District 3 is the one district currently controlled by a Republican where there's actually more registered Democrats than Republicans. So let's do it.
Get all of your underwear friends, neighbors, co-workers to get involved and raise their voice. Thank you.
Good evening, Congressman. I am slightly confounded how you're in two places at once, so that's miraculous. My question to you tonight is very simple. I don't know if you're aware, but 52% of your constituency are made up of XX chromosomes. Those would be females. I happen to be one. My question to you, Congressman, is if you are aware that presently more than 4,000 women a year are killed by their domestic partner. 4,000 a year. Keep in mind on 9/11, less than 3,000 people were killed, but 4,000 women plus a year are killed by their domestic partner. That's more than 60,000 women that have died since 9/11. One of the most predominant, prevailing factors in domestic violence is the economic disparity that women have when trying to be in the workforce. I want to know, when you stand up for 52% of your constituents, when are you going to push for the Equal Rights Amendment when we But I will remind you, sir, that when I go shopping, when I purchase, I don't get a 20% discount because I have a uterus. I shouldn't get paid 20% less because I have a uterus. I look forward to seeing you moving that initiative forward because 52% of your constituents are women.
In New Jersey, we have a legislature that failed to override the pay equity bill. So pay attention, folks, in New Jersey, we've still got issues with that, and we need to see pay equity passed, and we need to say our legislature standing up for it. Please.
I'm 57 and currently living in Mount Laurel. I'm a 78-year-old Jersey girl, born in Atlantic City, raised my kids in Burlington County, but we always came down here for vacations at the shore. Except in the 80s when the water was polluted, and those of you who owned homes there couldn't rent them out, and we didn't want them either, and we went to Delaware. Probably was polluted there too, but it felt better. My question, sir, why did you vote to allow that dirty water to trickle into my ocean?
Thank you, Representative MacArthur, for having me here this evening. My name is Arlene Griscom. I've been living in Burlington County for 70 years. I'm a Mount Laurel resident for 60 years. I am in the 3rd District, and I have something that I feel is a concern, and I do have a question. New Jersey is in the crosshairs between Pennsylvania and the New Jersey shoreline. We are getting our fair share of pipelines coming from Pennsylvania with fracked gas. The major issue right now, of course, is the Pinelands. The Pinelands Commission is meeting on Friday. I'm going to put a plug in here. If you want to get involved, please come to the meeting on Friday morning. Crown Plaza, Sherman Hill. I have not been an activist and involved in a lot of things, but since January, starting with the Women's March on Washington, which I attended, I have now become So I have to say one thing right now. Please get involved in as many things as you can. Contribute to various organizations that are going to promote what you feel strongly about. That's what I'm doing. So please come. I hope to see all of you in Cherry Hill. I'm supposed to be on a phone bank this evening trying to get people to come out on Friday. I hope all of you come out.
And what do you want Tom MacArthur to do?
My question is, we all agree that we need energy, okay? Please, could you please put clean energy, which has just as many jobs as fracked gas energy, pipelines. Please, would you please put clean energy before pipelines?
Recently, the Republican Party has come out with a plan of sorts to replace the Affordable Care Act. And the plan actually will change the subsidies that people receive. So right now with the Affordable Care Act, the subsidies increase as your income decreases. And the proposal that the Republicans have put out would make it so that the subsidies would stay the same regardless of their income, which would dramatically increase the cost to the poorest Americans. So my question for Representative MacArthur is, where do you stand on your party's replacement plan?
To elaborate on that plan, Congressman MacArthur, do the people of District 3 want to hear Congressman MacArthur's plan to keep coverage and protection for millions of New Jerseyans? Yes!
biggest, richest corporations in the world if we don't have clean water to drink, if we don't have clean air to breathe, if we don't have affordable health care for all of our citizens, if we don't have the respect of the world as global citizens, and think of everyone, not America, if we don't have free, high-quality education for all of our children, if we don't have the input, the intelligence, the ideas, and the work ethic of the people like my ancestors and yours, who gave everything and risked everything to come here to become Americans.
District 3 are saying is, Tom MacArthur, we want you to stand up for these principles. We have about 10 people in line. We'd really like to get to them, so if you can keep your questions very succinct, we'd like to do that so we can close. Go ahead.
Mr. MacArthur, you're looking well this evening. Mr. Barber, you good? I'm not a paid protester. I'm a constituent. I live in Delran, New Jersey. My name is James DeMasi. I have a lot of questions, but I think I'll sort of summarize them by asking you if you think that the United States is the government of the people, by the people, for the people, or of the corporations, by the corporations, for the corporations. Campaign contributions. And if you think that this is a show, wait until 2018.
Representative, my name is Phyllis Stemmel. I come from Forky River as well. Not a senior community, but 08731 is my zip code. I have so many different questions. I can talk about affordable care because I worked in Medicaid for 31 years and I know the benefit of that program and why having insurance helps children, families, pregnant women, the elderly, making sure that they're covered. I can talk about clean water because my father worked at Seafood-Ivy and at 67 years old died of cancer, never having smoked or drank a day in his life from standing in that polluted area. And that was a cancer zone. I can talk about all that, but my question for you, as a mother and grandmother, I have 2 sons still living with me. Could you raise the minimum wage so that they can be aware I love them and they can stay, but I would like them to have the option.
Hello, Congressman MacArthur. My name is Dr. Peter Belazarian. I'm a retired mathematician and engineer from Lockheed Martin Company. And I have some facts for you. These facts actually come from the Courier Post today, so I'll say them briefly. Given that 44,000 Burlington County and 78,000 Ocean County, and these are voters, and 1.1 million New Jersey residents can stand to lose good Affordable Care Act health care. And given that millions in New Jersey will lose good ACA employer health care benefits, no pre-existing condition, lifetime max, children to age 26. Given that 9,000 health care jobs will be lost in Burlington County and Ocean County with ACA repeal, 86,000 in New Jersey. Given that $4.2 billion in New Jersey federal funding will be lost, and given that 84 estimated deaths in Burlington County and Ocean County, 777 in New Jersey, can happen due to ACA repeal. Also, given that the phony GOP replacement schemes currently touted, like high-risk pools, vouchers, and low-benefit insurance across state lines, will not give the kind of coverage that exists on the Affordable Care Act. I have two questions. One is, do you really feel that the ACA should not be improved? Improve it, not replace it. The second question is, as far as phony stuff, I do not want a phony MacArthur town hall, a tele-town hall, about the serious ACA repeal issue. So